Yes, hello and welcome to the beautiful game here on CNN IV. The inviting images of a friendship. Was it spoiled? Steven Gerrard, Luis Suarez on both ends of the spectrum after this big game last night. Yes, Gerrard ending as the loser while his Liverpool teammate Suarez literally sinking England in this fantastic game he played for Uruguay. And joining us as always bright and happy early in the morning, Novi Kapadia and Karim Ben Sharifa. We're going to do a lot of talking about these two games, but before we get to Novi and Karim, let's take you through our top headlines right at this time. Yes, it is the magic of Suarez that sinks England. England now facing a virtual exit from the World Cup after a Suarez brace takes Uruguay to a 2-1 win. Yes, Japan and Greece are also making sure that they do not proceed any further, but they have furthered the cause of the other teams in their group. And Colombia become the first team to qualify for the knockouts from that group after beating Didier Drogba's Ivory Coast 2-1. But remember, all is not lost for Drogba's men. Right, now England's World Cup hopes were torpedoed by Luis Suarez as he returned from injury to strike twice to lift Uruguay to a 2-1 win and keep their hopes alive in the competition. Now, after a scrappy opening that saw both teams struggle to find rhythm, it was a Wayne Rooney free kick that threatened to break the deadlock. The effort just missing its mark by a feet. Now Uruguay responded with Rodriguez shooting at goal with great power and only for the ball to just sail over. Now England came close yet again with Rooney rising to meet this Gerrard cross only to find the corner of the bar. That's what he's doing most of the times normally. But it was a 20-second spell of magic that saw England fall behind in the 39th minute. Lodero pinching the ball of Gerrard at the centre line to send Cavani clear on the left, and the PSG man skirted his way through to send in the perfect cross. And look at this, Luis Suarez running across unmarked to head it in 1-0. Where were the defenders? Now England would level back in the 75th minute as Glenn Johnson slid it across for Rooney to run in unchallenged to score his first World Cup goal after so many attempts. But it was all over for England in the 85th minute as a long goal kick by Muslera was knocked on by none other than Stevie G, or the man they call Steven Gerrard, for Suarez to run onto acres of space and the net in front of him. And he responded, sending in a screamer to consign Hodgson's men to their second defeat in this World Cup. All right, let's take a look at how the England capitulated by way of numbers. Well, yet again, possession without penetration, something Karim and Novi have been harping about all the way. 62% for England, 38% for Uruguay. 13 shots, well, England did take the chances, 13 shots, but only 8 on target. Meanwhile, Uruguay had 10 shots. Out of that, remember, our man, Mr. Luis Suarez, alone took 5 of those shots. Yes, the numbers do tell the story, but the important thing, which I must ask you at the outset, Novi, is that 4 years of preparation, so much of media hype, yet again it seems to be going down for England.
Yes, I mean, they just mathematically still exist in the World Cup. It's a slim line. And England have themselves to blame. Yesterday, I also thought Hodgson got some of his substitutions wrong.
Right.
I mean, yes, Raheem Sterling found it very difficult. I mean, the full credit to Uruguay, the way they packed their defense, packed midfield. But I still thought Raheem Sterling was the only one who could have produced a bit of magic.
Right.
But I think the biggest expert was the young person who tweeted yesterday night's show that Steven Gerrard's mistakes is intuitive like Paul the Octopus.
Right.
Because, I mean, Steven Gerrard gifted the match away. But also, where was the marking? I mean, the England 2 central defenders.
Right.
In both cases.
Right.
Of course, full credit to Suarez for this ability to peel away into space. Right. But both Jagielka and Gary Cahill,
right,
you know, they gave him acres of space to give the best. Suarez has proved himself as the best finisher in the world at present. He is the ultimate fox in the box.
He is the ultimate fox in the world. Of course, when you have a striker like that, Karim, any coach will be delighted. Hodgson would be eating his words. A few days back, he said that Suarez is certainly not world class. But the important point out here is that not only did England capitulate, but the fact of the matter is that except that Wayne Rooney goal, there's not much they can actually take home from this performance. Because even though they lost to Italy, the fans still had hope because that was an inspired performance. But this one, totally opposite, a very insipid, limpid performance with the defense non-existent, as Novi points out.
Well, I would be harsh on the defense, on the way they defended. You know, basic defending was not there. You know,
Right.
both goals could be avoided with better positioning, better marking.
Right.
I do believe, because see, it proves Uruguay had 38% possession.
Right.
Because there was, you know, parking a bus, and they was defending compact and
Right.
and very well. And based on the setup of the defensive duty of Uruguay, it was
Right.
very difficult for England to penetrate. I still believe Sturridge did a great job.
Right.
I still believe Rooney tried his best, better than the last game. Sterling, do find it difficult. The two substitutions that come in did okay.
Right.
So at the final third, they didn't penetrate much because, credit to the way Uruguay have set up their defense.
Right.
But what killed England yesterday is,
Right.
is the basic mistakes of the defensive setup.
Right.
That's the most important. But a lot of credit to Uruguay, because one image that stay in my mind, and most of the South American teams are showing that grit and
Right.
that passion and that
Yeah.
resilience. When there was a clash between Sterling and he hit with his knee the defender in his head, and the doctor come in advising, because it could be a concussion, it could be dangerous for the life of
Right.
the player. So the doctor
still wanted to carry on.
taking the responsibility. He said to the coach, substitution.
Yeah.
And you had seen the reaction of the player. No,
still wanted to carry
I
on
want to
at
come
any
back. I
cost.
want
Yeah.
to help the team.
Yeah.
So that showed the character of the team.
It obviously showed that they wanted this game, they wanted to win. Karim, let's start our morning jog, but I'm sorry, I'll be disappointing you, because this is something which we did last night. Now you might as well ask me, Sanjeev, why are we doing this again? Exactly what you told us. This is exactly the way England defense was penetrated. All those acres of space have been taken and exploited by Cavani. But the question is that, yes, there was a little difference between the way Uruguay pressed hard and Italy did, because Uruguay tried to push them harder, higher up. Maybe was that the reason that England, whenever they had the ball in their defense, they could not get the ball out? Was that the reason?
Yeah, there was a pressure, as I said. Even Cavani dropped a little bit. They played on they started on a diamond system, you know, with the three midfielders who are doing more the defensive duty.
Right.
One little bit attacking. Suarez was the front one, but Cavani was always dropping slightly deeper and helping the defense. So, but the point that we explained yesterday is because they are compact, many times both side backs move up, and you cannot do this. You cannot have this defending. This is impossible if you play against a striker like Suarez.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot defend like this. And we discussed it yesterday that it's important. First goal, for example, if I explain the two goals, first goal came from the Cavani having the ball here.
Right.
And it was Suarez was very intelligent, because he didn't do the run here, which he thought.
Right.
And end up doing the run here. So it was very important for this one to be also compact. Second goal came from a situation which is basic. There is Steven Gerrard was here. Suarez gambled by doing the run, you know, because if that ball, that long pass that came onto this area, if it had touches the Uruguay player, Suarez will be offside.
Right.
But since it touches, he's a striker. He gambled.
Right.
He gambled. So if he did the run while the ball is coming, he was already here.
Right.
And if it touches the Uruguay, he will be offside. But
Right.
since it touches Gerrard, these guys should never be high. They should not gamble.
Right.
They should not think, oh, the Uruguay player will touch and Suarez will be offside. They
Right.
should think, if Gerrard have. So it's very important in this situation that the players anticipate
Right.
by dropping and covering.
Right.
But also very important also, in this case, it's not his responsibility, but in case the ball comes far away from the defenders,
Right.
the goalkeeper is also have responsibility to come out and look for the second ball. I just explained here, when the ball touched Gerrard and come into the space, of course, Kale is responsible about
Right.
this goal, but in case if the ball touch and go far away, the goalkeeper have to anticipate and come out on the ball.
Right. The other question which I would want to take you back is the first goal that Suarez, when he made that run, there were at least 4 or 5 defenders in this area. This area was littered with defenders. Surprisingly, none of them moved. Why is it so?
Because if we come back to the goal, the positioning, Cavani had the ball here. There was the Johnson with the centre back was closing him down, and there was Kale.
Right.
No, sorry, the other centre back. And so when Suarez showed like he gonna do the run here,
right.
So of course. This centre back is looking, also his eye is on the ball. He's looking at the ball, and he's looking at, worried about the run of Suarez in front of him. But then, what Suarez, because being intelligent, he did little run here, and he did the run behind. Which, behind, so he didn't know, last minute he didn't know all this happened. So that's why the importance of this player, if he was here also, though it looks like there was many white players here, but the danger area is this one, and that's here where comes the importance of the left back also to come in and close that
and he
space.
also had a very poor game. Well, that surely does it here. I'm sure nobody would have any more questions to ask you as far as how
I have a question, because I want to know your opinion on the tactics of England.
You first of all, you switch this off. Okay, you switch it on. Switch it on. This is how you do it, right? I'll show you the England tactics. This is Liverpool, right? And this is Liverpool plus, because it's Rooney, Man United. That sums up the match for me.
Thank you.
Pleasant one.
Thank you, sir.
But jokes apart, Novi Kapadia. Yes, Karim suddenly got me on the back foot. But the one which I need to ask you is that Luis Suarez. Yes, you're talking about England, but a fantastic performance there. It's not just about the goals. It's just that 22nd of May, he had a very serious surgery, and there was a lot of concern whether he would be 100% fit to play. Not only does he come out to play, he's actually leads the attack of the Uruguayans. He's actually running hard, always in the right places, linking up with Cavani beautifully, 6 shots at goal, and he's also there to deliver when the ball is there in the final third.
Yes, I think there's a little bit of needle in this match because he got hurt clashing with a Newcastle United defender. The only historical parallel I can think of is Franco Baresi in 1994. Got injured in the first league match and then recovered to play the final against Brazil. Wasn't as effective. I mean, he missed a penalty, but still, it was also a remarkable comeback. But you know, giving it a larger perspective, Sanjeev, the grit, the determination of the Uruguay players, what they call the gara, you know, the desire to overachieve. A small population of 3 million, or in Indian perspective 30 lakh people, country which has more sheep and cattle than human beings. England, for the last few World Cups, the younger players seem a bit pampered. They are overpaid. You didn't see that, you know, willing to give blood, sweat, toil and tears for the cause of the country. And that is making the difference. You know, they get so easily trapped into the glamour of the sort of, I mean, Premiership also is a bit like Hollywood, and there's big money and glamorous lifestyle. They weren't, like Karim rightly pointed out, there was no replica of Alvaro Pereira. You could see him shouting, I'm all right. You know, to give that extra bit against a packed defense. And that's why I felt Raheem Sterling should have stayed on. You need magic, or you need the crosses. The crosses were extremely poor yesterday. What used to be England's hallmark in the earlier generation, whipping in crosses, the tall striker, good in the air, those aspects have got missing in England's game. You know, they are falling between two stools.
Right. Karim, also the other important factor is that yes, people did try out the best, but the defense seemed to be non-existent for England. They simply failed to turn up. But the white players, they need to be blamed too, because Welbeck, where was he? Danny Welbeck was hardly on the ball. Raheem Sterling started well, as you said, but then he was, you know, always found on the edge of the box, on the edge of the ground. What was he doing there? There seemed to be a lack of coordination. The wings were inefficient. It seemed that England, the entire mechanism of trying to mark Suarez, it seemed to be a very flawed one.
Well, the marking of Suarez was not good enough, as we just explained. Now going forward, I don't think, see, because we are asking Sterling, a young player, we are asking even the substitute who come in, they're young, they're inexperienced. They are not at the quality of a Messi who will dribble 2-3 players and create spaces to create goals or create opening. So Welbeck, Sterling, and even Sturridge and Rooney, they did their best to break this compact Uruguay defense, but simply they didn't have that flair and that high skills of a guy like Messi to penetrate even a compact defense and eliminate 2-3 players by his skills and then give a good pass which is going to create space for the rest of the players, or finish in scoring himself like the goal that he scored in this World Cup.
Okay, to quickly wind this up, Uruguay, Novi, they were quick to the ball. Very strong tacklers, pressing England high up the pitch, as Karim showed us on the telestrator. And obviously they have one of the deadliest strikers. Luis Suarez just comes back from an operation and he delivers those 2 fantastic goals with pinpoint precision. How far do you see this team go? Because next up they're going to play Italy, who obviously look to be the form team in this group. But then after we see Uruguay with Suarez, it's a completely different team altogether.
Yes, completely different from the team which lost to Costa Rica. But Uruguay are still not out of the woods. I mean, Italy and Costa Rica, all sorts of possibilities. If it's a draw, both go to 4 points. If Costa Rica pull off an amazing win, then Costa Rica is practically through. So Uruguay, a great win, I mean, probably gets them morally very high. I mean, they feel full of confidence after beating England. But they could still be eliminated from the World Cup. And Italy versus Uruguay will be the clash of the 2 temperamental strikers, Balotelli against Suarez. Hopefully that knee of Suarez is all right. Can Suarez, he's played with great courage yesterday. And against Italy, he'll be up against the master class in defense. He's not going to get these acres of space like he got against England's defense, which before the World Cup started was weak, and it just proved that there are too many foreign defenders in the Premiership. There's just not enough classic centre halves. Really a major surprise from the land of Bobby Moore, Terry Butcher,
Simply
John Terry.
put, in your words, if I could quote you, Novi, what Nobby Styles did to Eusebio in 1966, Steven Gerrard failed to do that.
There was nobody in England who can do that job. That is the problem. There's nobody who can play that gritty role. You know, they were all like Rolls Royce. There was nobody who was willing to do the hard grind.
Nobody is willing to do the hard grind. Finally, yes, I must ask you this, Karim, very quickly. The fact that, the Twitter went abuzz with the fact that the ball touched Gerrard's, it got knocked on by Gerrard, and then obviously Suarez got it and scored. Everybody is joking about it, that it's a Liverpool assist to a Liverpool guy, Liverpool assist to Suarez. How do things work when they get back to the club level? It's too early to ask, but obviously, yes, there was so much of focus on the Liverpool clash in this particular game, and something like this, strange like this, happened also.
First thing Suarez did at the end of the match is he touched the head of Steven Gerrard. But on a serious note, I don't think we should blame Gerrard for the goal, because Gerrard had jumped, the ball was slightly higher on his jump and had touched his head. The blame comes on the cover, because when a player always, this is one of the basics, when a player jumps for a high ball, for a header, his teammates drop behind him to win the second ball. That's what we call second ball. So at that second ball, the responsible of it is the 2 centre-backs who are behind, especially in this case Cahill, who should do the job.
Jagielka to a certain extent. Both of them flopped up.
So you see, you have Cahill who scored an amazing goal, maybe the best of the World Cup, and you have another Cahill.
That was Tim, this was Gary. That was Tim, this was Gary. Names don't matter. Well, on that note, while Suarez made it a night to remember for all Uruguayan supporters, it was disappointment all over again at a World Cup for English football fans. Now listen in to some fan reactions.
It's incredible. I was one of the people that was negative and said they were going to carry around Suarez's backpack. But the truth is that he is incredible. The team played really well, and now we're going forward.
Unfortunately, the results have not worked our way. You know, it's a little bit of a toothless performance tonight. I think they needed a bit more urgency. But you know, I'm at a World Cup. I'm in Brazil. You know, what is there to be sad about?
It's a great feeling. Truthfully, they deserve it for their courage and sacrifice. This guy, Luis Suarez, is incredible. I'm really excited.
I got to Rio now. Back to Rio. Now to the game in Belo Horizonte. So I'm still going to follow England, but I'm so gutted.
Uruguay! 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 Uruguay!
Lovely scenes there, people chanting Uruguay, Uruguay after they beat England. Now, meanwhile, Colombia have virtually sealed their place too in the knockouts of the World Cup with a hard-fought win over Drogba's Ivory Coast. Now, both teams were circumspect to begin with, but the best chance fell to Suarez, who missed the sitter of the tournament, shooting wide from an unmarked position. That was the way it started, and the goalkeeper to beat. Now, the deadlock was finally broken in the 64th minute with James Rodriguez with a bullet header from a corner, 1-0, and soon it was 2-0 with Juan Quintero slotting home after a slip on the halfway line. Now, Ivory Coast pulled one back through Gervinho. That was a great finish from Gervinho, but despite a frantic finish, they failed to level the game.
I cannot describe the happiness I feel. I hope we go far in this tournament, with the help of God, even to the final. Thanks, Team Colombia.
I think that we played very well. Colombia is a great team, a great soccer nation. But we've shown that we have a good level. The game was very close, so I think we have a good chance of going to the second round against Greece.
Right, now the night's other Group C game wasn't quite as exciting as most of the other games we have seen at the World Cup so far, with Japan and Greece playing out a goalless draw. Now, Japan dominated the play for most periods without finding a way through, making the most of their man advantage after Greek skipper Kostas Katsourenas was sent off for a second bookable offence. Greece, usually renowned for their defensive strength, were guilty of sitting too deep and giving their opponents too much time on the ball. Now, the night's best chance fell to striker Yoshio Okubo, but he failed to convert from barely a couple of yards out. The result virtually ends both the teams' chances of qualifying for the knockout standings. That brings us to the Group C standings. What this result means. Let's quickly take a look. Colombia right on top with 6 points. Now, whoever thought Ivory Coast is in a bad situation? Definitely not, because Novi, Japan and Greece, they are 1 point each. They're virtually out of this competition. What does this mean for Ivory Coast?
Well,
tell us the obvious.
Didier Drogba's dream could come true at the age of 36. Maybe he could guide his country to the round of 16. All that they need is a draw in the last match against Greece, and they should get through, because I don't see Japan upsetting Colombia.
Right.
Japan and Greece have cancelled themselves out. You know, Greece has become the Bulgaria of the 21st century. Somehow they just never perform in the World Cup. They were really disappointing, and Japan also,
right,
who were considered Asia's best team. They seem to lack creativity up front. So, golden opportunity for Ivory Coast, despite a loss, to get through.
Obviously, but Karim, you will be obviously looking forward to Ivory Coast putting out a last gasp effort to do, make a better performance out of themselves and at least go forward in this tournament, because there is still a chance left.
If I look at Africa, the best team so far is this Ivory Coast. So I wish they qualify to the next round. And you know, after when all these teams that accept the favorite, though some of them already packed their bags, the teams that we can call dark horses and all that, if they qualify from this round, they will go from strength to strength. I think Ivory Coast, if they can pass through this difficult group and qualify to the next round, we cannot be surprised if they perform much better than what they performed till now,
right,
because the confidence make a lot of good to these players. You know, if a qualification to the next round is already a boost of confidence that they will release themselves from all the pressure.
Absolutely, and it seems that at least while Shakira might have failed to inspire Piqué during Spain's game, Shakira surely inspired the Colombian team to a great performance. Now let's take you through the conversation here on CN and IBN of all of you can join in with the hashtag at the World Cup. Now, first one coming in from the E-Rail Lived In, saying an exciting game that kept sleep at bay thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. England versus Uruguay, that's for sure. The next one coming in from Ritwik93 says, Rooney wins versus the Brit media, but not Uruguay. At LFC, that's the Twitter handle for Liverpool. Liverpool assist for Luis Suarez with a smiley. Truly the beautiful game. Well, that's a nice one. The next one coming in from Swing and Miss saying, Suarez, Suarez, Suarez. Whoever said football is a team game is wrong. It was a one-man show tonight. That's what this gentleman is talking about the game last night. And Akshay Kanitkar saying, much to think for England after this debacle. Suarez was simply stunning. Surely he was. And this is our tweet of the day, which comes from Aditya0912, says, Diego Costa, this is what a half-fit, world-class centre forward can do. Watch and learn, Suarez. Absolutely. That's the way you can join us here on the conversation. All you got to do is tweet at IBN Live with the hashtag World Cup, and we can take forward your questions to both Novi Kapadia and Karim Ben Sharifa. Well, it's time for a break here on the show now. When we come back, we talk to you about the Azzurri and the next challenge later tonight. Welcome back to the beautiful game. Let's take you through all the matches up tonight. But before that, let's take you through the group standings of, this is the group of death. Yes, Group D. Uruguay, obviously, with they've played 2 games, 3 points. This is the first winner over England. Costa Rica and Italy, they're sharing points. They're at the same level. England just a step away from elimination. Why the reason this is so important is that a lot depends on this game between Italy and Costa Rica, because just in case Costa Rica manage to beat Italy, then it will be surely all over for the English team. Now, this is the group of death that this will witness this terrific battle tonight. That's what we are hoping, as the masterful Italy take on the Costa Ricans in the first game this Friday night. Now, Cesar Prandelli's men, remember, opened their campaign with a well-plotted win over England. Now, while Mario Balotelli displayed yet again his caliber as a top-notch striker, it will be midfield maestro Andrea Pirlo who will once again try and orchestrate Italy's attacks. The Costa Ricans, though, will be up for the challenge after a terrific start when they outclassed Uruguay 3-1 in the opening game. Switching flanks with great speed, the Central Americans' midfield will yet again be looking to provide striker Joel Campbell the crucial throws passes. Novi Kapadia, will the English media say that it's a travesty of justice just in case Costa Rica managed to beat Italy and knock out England?
The table you showed, we expected that those top 3 would have been England, Uruguay, Italy, or Italy, whatever. They would be sharing the spot. Costa Rica were expected to be at the bottom with 0 points.
Right.
But I mean, they've
sacrificial lambs, a lot of people were saying.
Sacrificial lamb. They have been the surprise package of the World Cup. And Costa Rica, it would be the ultimate irony, a tiny country which barely has a league, a flourishing league going, if they can surprise Italy, which doesn't really seem likely. I mean, it could be a draw. It would be the ultimate ironies that they would knock out the country which has the richest league in the world, the most watched league in the world, the most high-profile football players in the world, would get eliminated by a country which many people in India and maybe some in England wouldn't be able to place also.
And then Arsene Wenger might not even call back Joel Campbell in that possibility of that happening. But Karim, on the other hand, Costa Rica, as Novi says, who would have thought that when they came into this tournament, everybody thought that they would be the punching bag, the top 3 teams, you know, to make their way into passage into the next group would be all beating them by big margins. But the way they came out, hard, fast, running hard through the width of the flanks and beating Uruguay 3-1, fine, without Suarez, but they were very good. They can surely put in a very tough fight for Italy.
Surely they can do that, because they showed that they can punch above their weight. they're well organized. But again, I will come back to the strength of these teams. Costa Rica is one of them. Is the tremendous spirit that they have in the group. They fight for each other. They cover each other. You know, sometimes it's not only about the tactics. You know, you can the coach can talk day and night about on screen and doing lectures, cover the defender, look for the second ball. But sometimes it happened, the spirit is more important than the tactics. When players start fighting for each other. When you had seen yesterday the images of, this morning, the images of Suarez, how his teammates are celebrating his goals, are hugging him, you know, and that spirit, we don't see it in many teams. Even in England, we didn't see that spirit. And that is the strength of a team like Costa Rica, where Italy should be worried about. Otherwise, when it comes to class, quality, definitely Italy, especially Pirlo, Balotelli, are above the level of Costa Rica.
Right, absolutely. But quickly, a final word, Novi. Yes, we've seen what happened to Iker Casillas. Now, there is a possibility that if fit, Buffon might be available for selection. Do you think Prandelli will take the chance, or will he actually wait, given the fact that Sirigu gave a good account of himself, and also the fact that it's like aging goalkeepers? He's seen what happened to Casillas. Who knows? What if Campbell scores against Buffon if he comes back?
And I think he's blessed with riches in goalkeepers. Sirigu is one of the top goalkeepers in the world. So it's not going to be a gamble. I mean, and he's had a good performance against England. So I don't think Prandelli would really risk Buffon in this match. It would be safer to continue with Sirigu, because Costa Rica, in Brian Ruiz, Joel Campbell, you know, people who will take shots. And so it would probably be, you know, prudent to continue with the tried and trusted Sirigu.
Also will be one final chance for Italy to sharpen their particular brand of football before they take on this rejuvenated Uruguay. Well, on that note, it's time for another break on the show. But when we come back, we listen to the gentleman whom only Novi has watched play in real flesh and blood. Yes, that's the greatest, Pele. Welcome back to the beautiful game. Now we are through with 1 week of the FIFA World Cup 2014, and the action continues to heat up. Now CNN's Fred Pleitgen caught up with the Brazilian legend, the one and only FIFA's player of the century, Edson Arantes de Nascimento, or rather Pele. Listen in.
Something important is we have a lot of goals, a lot of open games. I think the people who come to see, the people who look at the football, they want to show. I think this beginning was good because so many goals. This World Cup, no, you didn't have easy game. No way, you have some surprise there. And then Mexico, the last 4 or 5 years, in the Olympics game, exhibition game, always was difficult for Brazil. This game, we have a opportunity to score, but the goalkeeper was very good, and 3 times he saved the Mexico to take a goal. This happened, but I think we play lower than what you should play to get in the final. Exactly. For the first time, I mentioned before, Brazil always was a team who has attack, forward. Always was that like that. This is the first time in the history of the World Cup Brazil has a good defender from midfield back. We are very organized. And Felipe has a little difficulty to organize the forwards, the attack. That's not our problem.
Well, it's always a pleasure listening to the king, the greatest, Pele. Now let's take you through what are the other matches up tonight. We've spoken about Italy versus Costa Rica, which will be followed about half an hour after midnight. The match in Switzerland versus France, followed by Honduras versus Ecuador. Not many takers for Honduras's kicking style of football, But a lot of eyes will be trained on the way France plays against Switzerland, because remember, this is a team they have failed to beat in the last 10 years. Interesting strike. Now, Karim Benzema will be leading the charge as the upbeat French take on Switzerland in their second Group E encounter later tonight. Now, Benzema, who struck twice in the win over Honduras, will once again spearhead the French attack that looked very sharp in the opening game. Manager Didier Deschamps is also unlikely to tinker with Benzema's pairing with Antoine Griezmann, a combination that worked well and was well backed up by the midfield duo of Mathieu Valbuena and Matuidi. Now, Otto Hitzfeld's team, though, are unlikely to be pushovers, with Xherdan Shaqiri leading a talented pool of youngsters, quite a few with roots in erstwhile Yugoslavia. Now, while France haven't won against the Swiss in 10 years, a win for either will surely see the winner go through to the knockout stages as the table toppers and also possibly avoid Argentina in the second round.
I hope we have a great game for the public that comes to the stadium and want to see as many goals as possible. You cannot promise anything, it depends on what is going on in the pitch. But with the 2 matches played in Salvador, the spectacle was great, and I hope we will do the same tomorrow.
Over the past 10 years, Switzerland has had a good record against France, as has France against us. We're in a special position since France is our neighbouring country and we always have a good duel with them. So to play against France is a big derby for us.
Interesting game. Now, the last game later tonight, or rather tomorrow, early tomorrow morning, pits both the minnows in that group, Honduras and Ecuador, up against each other. Having lost their opening fixtures, both teams will be hoping for a change in fortune. Honduras will be without the suspended midfielder Wilson Palacios, who was sent off in the 3-0 defeat at the hands of the French. Up against them will be an Ecuador side waiting to bounce back from the heartbreak of conceding a goal late in stoppage time to lose the opening game against Switzerland. A win is an absolute must for both sides if they wish to keep their World Cup campaigns alive. On that note, it's time for us to take our final break on the show. But when we come back, we'll get you the story of the latest incident which has sparked a row, at least on Twitter world, by Mario Super Balotelli. Stay up for that. Welcome back to the beautiful game. Now, what is a big tournament without a controversy? Not really a controversy, but Twitter has already been set ablaze by the one and only Mario Balotelli. Let's take a look at what exactly Mario said. This is just minutes after the game between England and Uruguay, which Uruguay won 2-1. Now, this is what Balotelli says, that he tweets, he says, if we beat Costa Rica, yes, if we do beat Costa Rica, I want a kiss, obviously on the cheek, from the UK Queen. Only Mario Balotelli would have been able to tweet like that. And Novi Kabadi, your initial reactions. This is bizarre, yes, it might sound, but more than 1 lakh people have at least retweeted what Balotelli has tweeted.
A little bit of psychoanalysis. It shows Balotelli as a Freudian complex, a mother figure complex. If I was in his case, I would have rather asked for kisses, if she'd been alive, the late Princess Diana.
Late Princess Diana. What about you, Karim? Karim, Novi's already made his choice.
Well, he's right. I hope he's. I'm sure his girlfriend will not mind. Right. And this tweet, since it's out, right, I think it will be a source of motivation for Costa Rica to not letting him do that, because though it
to
looks
not
simple,
let him be kissed by the Queen.
Yeah,
that's what you say.
Though it looks simple, but if I'm a coach of Balotelli, I will tell him, unnecessary, you give pressure, an extra source of motivation for the opponent to come hard at us and prove you wrong, especially the centre-backs.
The latest we heard about Balotelli is that he's got his own book, which is covered by pictures of all of his own pictures. He doesn't have a picture of any other person on the Italian team. On that note, it's time for us to say goodbye. But remember, you can tweet to us here at IBN Live using the hashtag World Cup, and also tweet to Novi Kapadia and also Karim Ben Sharifa. I'm not sure whether they will be tweeting like Mario Balotelli, although Novi just mentioned Princess Diana, but they will surely be responding to all your tweets and questions about the World Cup. On that note, Karim, Novi, thank you very much.